There's this kind of notion, right? This negative notion that, okay, maths is hard because my teacher is not that great or I don't understand any of the topics. But the actual reason is not that you don't understand the topics, it's because your foundations are not there.
Solve for x. Move the 5 to the right-hand side. 17 minus 5. So 3x is less than 12. So what would x be less than what? 4. Very easy. Done.
If you want to build something, and if you want to build something big, if you want to achieve a goal, anything, right? If you don't have those foundations, you will not only give up and find it difficult, but you will be demotivated to carry on because you're like, okay, what's the point of me doing this? There's no point. I'm struggling here and this is a waste of my time.
Not too hard. It's not as hard as you think it is, yeah? Maths is all about sets of rules to a certain extent, and then it's just solving it.
Your basic foundations, the pillars, are weak. That's because your basics is not there. So it's important to play the long game. Don't go for the shortcut. Don't play the short game. Don't try and do this. Go straight on the road. In the end, you will get there and people will look at you and say, wow, this person knows what they're doing. They're the real package. So in today's class, I wanted to share some of my insights that I've seen when I'm teaching students maths on why having strong foundation is your path to success. And that's not just in the education world, but it's also outside of the education realm, where if you have strong foundations and strong pillars, you will be far ahead from everyone else. And I wanted to share some of the negative experiences when students don't have the foundations, how it affects them, and some of the positive experiences when they do have the foundations. And when you're able to see the analogy that I will explain to you from a maths perspective, you'll be able to understand how this can be applied in any aspects of life and how having those strong pillars, having that strong core foundation in anything that you do is a stepping stone to what you want to go and achieve.
So inequalities, let's go. Let me write this example. This is going through find a set of values. What you're gonna do here, this is where we're gonna incorporate the number line, okay? So watch what we're gonna do. It's very simple, it's not hard, but we've got two equations that we need to solve separately. Oh, Amari, where's your bag?
It's on the...
Where's your phone?
It's in my bag.
Show me the phone. Okay, put it back. Close it. And then give the bag to Sahil.
So I wasn't even on it this day.
And then Sahil put it next there. That's it. Oh, careful. He's got a phone.
Yeah, sorry, you know I've got a new calculator as well.
No, okay.
Wait, what is that? Show me. What is this? What is it, from 1970 or something? What kind of calculator is that?
I don't know. You could roll dice on that one. You probably.
Okay, shh. All right, so...
There's this kind of notion, right? This negative notion that, okay, maths is hard because my teacher is not that great or I don't understand any of the topics. But the actual reason is not that you don't understand the topics, it's because your foundations are not there. Your basic foundations, the pillars, are weak. And that's why when now someone else teaches you a topic, you're kind of like, oh my gosh, what is this? I don't understand this and I'm feeling like I'm very slow and I'm not able to catch up with everyone else. And that's because your basics is not there. So if your mental arithmetic is not there, so for example, like, the basic mental arithmetic, any topic that I teach, and this is what I've seen with students, they will understand it, but the problem is the speed and the way they understand it slows down a lot more. Now, if you compare that with someone where their foundations is strong, so the basic mental arithmetic is strong, the basic times tables is strong, the basic numeracy is strong. When I teach them the topic, they get the topic a lot quicker. They understand the topic a lot quicker because the foundations are very strong. So why I say foundations is important is because if you want to build something, and if you want to build something big, if you want to achieve a goal, anything, right? If you don't have those foundations, you will not only give up and find it difficult, but you will be demotivated to carry on because you're like, okay, what's the point of me doing this? There's no point. I'm struggling here and this is a waste of my time. And then your thought pattern is, I'm not good enough at this. This is not for me. But what you have to understand is if you had the strong foundations, would you have said that? Would you have come to that conclusion? I don't think you would because you've got the basics. And now what you're doing is building on top of the basics. And because your basics are strong, you're now able to understand the more advanced concepts. The ones that don't have their basic mental arithmetic in check and their foundations are strong, they struggle with the topics. Not because I can't explain the topics, it's because their basic numeracy is lagging. And because that's lagging, now anything I chuck at them, anything I explain, any advanced algebraic expression that I bring to them, they're like, okay, I can't keep up. But the ones that have strong foundations and their mental arithmetic is there, their numeracy is just very fast and they're very strong at that, they grasp it a lot quicker.
If I was to solve this, that's very easy, isn't it? Just solve for x. Move the 5 to the right-hand side. 17 minus 5. So 3x is less than 12. So what would x be less than what? 4. Very easy. Done. Now let's go to the second equation, which we did, right? We can rewrite this as what? X squared minus 7x plus 10 equals 0. Don't worry about the inequality sign first. Let's factorize. Two numbers I multiply gives me 10. Two numbers I add gives me minus 7. Anyone quick maths?
Minus 5 minus 2.
Cool. So what would x be?
5.
X equals?
2.
Cool. This is just me and Chris talking, is it? Cool. Now what do we do? If you remember, we need to draw our graph, isn't it? So smiley face or smiley face?
Smiley face.
So it's meant to be smiley or sad. Okay. Now look what's going to happen. Can you see something happening where both lines are merging?
Yeah.
Look here. Can you see, look, they're merging here? But where are they merging from? What's the limits from where they're starting? 2 and what?
5.
Very good.
4.
4. So 2. So if I put x here, x has to be greater than 2 but smaller than?
4.
That's your answer. But yeah, x is technically 3, but you need to write your answer in that way.
So in the exam, if you put x is 3, will you lose marks?
You probably lose marks from the syntax of how you wrote it. Yeah, for the method. Tell that to the examiner, not me.
So what you see in that clip is I did an extension of this topic called inequality, where I went a bit more harder than the basics. Now, for someone who doesn't know this topic and doesn't have strong foundations, they'll be looking at this and thinking, oh my gosh, this is very hard. The concepts in all of this, I don't understand, it doesn't make sense. I hope you can see by not having the foundation, the student now will struggle to understand this because they don't have the building pillars or the building blocks of understanding this topic from the beginning. And that's why it's important that you have to start from the basics. So a tip that I would say from my experience and what I've seen is if you don't understand something, don't try and think, oh my gosh, this is so hard and give up straight away because you find it difficult. That difficult feeling, that painful feeling of finding something difficult, we all go through it. It's natural. And most people, what they would do is give up at this stage because they don't like that feeling. They don't like that feeling of discomfort. It's very uncomfortable. But what you're going to do and what you're going to do differently is say, okay, I don't understand this, which means I need to start from zero, right? I need to start from the ground up and start building my knowledge. So you go back from the basics, build your basics first. I'm using inequality here as an example, but it could be, you can apply this for anything, right? If you don't understand something and you've tried it so many times and it doesn't make sense, start from first principles, right? Start from zero, start from the basics and say, okay, what do I need to start with first? And build it from there. When you feel that pain, when you feel that discomfort, good, but now you've got to use it to your advantage and say, you know what? I don't understand this. I'm getting angry, I'm getting frustrated. Use that and say, I'm gonna start from zero and start from the basics. And I guarantee you, when you start from the basics and you're like, okay, now I'm starting to understand, go back to the thing that you struggled with and now you'll be able to connect the dots. And you'll be like, okay, this is how these things work. Okay, I understand that now because I did my reading, I did my research, I did my work on the basics to first build that up before getting to that. And I think this is where a lot of people make the mistake. They think that just because they don't understand something, that they're not good enough, that they're stupid and they're a failure. And they think that, you know what, this is not for me. And that's a wrong mindset. Change the mindset and tweak and think, okay, how can I understand this? What can I do? Start from the beginning.
What does jarring mean? One of the comments said, because I think I said it to you, the gold medal statement is so jarring. Oh, okay. I don't know who's who, man. The names of these TikTok, oh my days. Big man, king, queen, this, that, this is just like, I don't.
Oh yeah, this comment, jarring and all these other words that people are putting on TikTok. I don't understand. I'm a bit old fashioned. So a lot of these new vocabulary, I'm still having to catch up with it. So people would write these things and I'm like, what does this even mean? Jarring, what is that? And then, there was another time where students saying, you're tapped or something, or capped. And in my head, I'm like, where's a tap? Where's a cap? Like, it doesn't make sense because obviously I'm just like, how does that make sense with what you're saying? But this is all the new generation vocabulary, should I say. So it's interesting to say the least when I see some of these comments on TikTok and Instagram where people put these type of words and sentences and you can say, yeah, they hate on me, whatever. Listen, it's fine. I'm not that bothered because they only see 30 seconds of a clip and make their judgment based on that. But the way I look at it is, if you look at the whole video, you'll see the whole picture, right? And 30 seconds is just me being, sarcastic, tongue-in-cheek with the student, have a bit of banter, and they get it, I get it, we're in good spirits. But obviously I understand to an outsider when they watch this, they just look at 30 seconds and they don't know anything about me. So I can understand maybe where that comes from. But what I would say to those people is that if you watch the whole video on YouTube and you see like how I am in class and how the students are with me, you'll get a full picture and a better understanding of how we do things in our class here.
People are watching that TikTok even that don't follow me. They probably want to start joining the classes.
Oh yeah. You got like this lifestyle, like this human size model of some animated figure or something in the back of one of your videos.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a Power Ranger.
Why you got that?
It's I've got a lot of those.
So you like one of them that go to like anime conventions?
Actually, I don't. It's just it's an art thing. It's a fine taste. Okay, next example. Find a set of values. We'll do another one.
Sir,
Yeah.
would you work the same way if it had like, you know, the number in front of x squared?
Exactly same way. The only difference is obviously the way you factorize that equation. So everything stays the same. It's just the way you're going to get the answer to that obviously is different. That's it. Let's do the same thing. We're going to solve the second equation because that's the easy one first to solve. So we said 3x is greater than what? 2 minus 17. So 3x is greater than minus 15. So what would x be greater than? Minus 5. Okay, so that's the first answer. That's very easy to do. So what I'm going to write is x has to be greater than minus 5 but smaller than minus 3. And then the other one, you can write that separately if you need. You don't need to, but you can write it. You can say x is greater than 4. There's no intersection here. That just keeps going that way, right? So this is going to be your answer, comma, obviously. Okay, now one thing Vanshi said, which is very important, right? Here, if you look at these signs, they're not equals to. If I had equals to, so for example, if I had 3x plus 17 greater than or equals to, you see that circle that you drawn? You shade it. You have to shade it if it's an equal sign. You shade the circle if it's greater than or equals to or smaller than or equals to. You don't shade the circle if it's just greater than or smaller than. Make sense? So the shading circle is for this, the non-shaded circle is for that. So you only shade it when you see the equal sign. Very important, you'll lose a mark if you don't do that. Not too hard. It's not as hard as you think it is, yeah? Maths is all about sets of rules to a certain extent, and then it's just solving it.
The second tip that I would say with building your foundations and making that strong is that you want to keep going at it again and again and again. It's practice. Everything is practice. Whether you're playing a sport, whether you're playing an instrument, whether you're learning a new skill, you have to put the hours, you have to put the time. You see, I get this comment a lot from the students like, sir, you don't even use books. Like, how are you able to write the questions and work out in your mind straight away? What they don't realize, well, they do realize because I tell them in the end and they say, oh, you're so smart. But I tell them, but hold up, you're saying I'm smart. But what you don't realize is this has been years and years and years and years in the work. I've been doing maths pretty much, since school, and I've been practicing, honing. And, when I went to university as well, there was a lot of maths involved. And it's an accumulation of practice for a prolonged period of time. It was like, I have to make sure that I understand the basics so that I can then go and learn the more advanced concepts. And I think people in this day and age, they're very impatient. They want things straight away. They want to understand things straight away. They want to get things straight away. And if they don't get it, they just give up. For you to understand these advanced concepts, for you to achieve these goals, for you to master these skills, it takes a lot of time. It takes consistent effort that you have to put in day out for you to become a master at it. There's no shortcuts. And I know I see a lot of these things happening where, oh, if you do this, get this shortcut, get this shortcut. But in the grand scheme of things, it's better that you put the time and effort so that you cover all your bases, you understand from all different angles. And that's why for me, I don't use books. I don't use books because I'm able to have an answer in my head, and from the answer, I'm able to work out the question. And that just takes time. And that took a lot of practice, and that took a lot of getting things wrong. Like, don't get me wrong, when I was getting a lot of the questions I was doing wrong, I was annoyed, I was frustrated, but I didn't give up. I didn't let that get the better of me and think that, I'm stupid, I'm dumb. No, I use that emotion, I use that anger, I use that frustration to say, you know what, I'm going to get it right the next time, and I'm going to go at it again and again and again and keep practicing. It's important that you practice what you are learning, the skill that you're trying to master, the goal that you want to achieve. Put the hours, put the time, because when someone else looks at you now, they'll be like, whoa, this guy is really good. Whoa, this girl is amazing at what she does. But what they don't realize is the amount of sacrifice, the amount of time, the amount of effort that you put in the shadows that no one saw. But people will see when you become a master at it. And when you become a master at it, the world is your oyster from there on in, isn't it?
-6,
-6 plus 2.
you had to put that in the calculator, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go around. Remember, this one is long factorizing. 2 numbers you multiply gives you -4, and 2 numbers when you add gives you 3. You have to do the long factorizing method. Remember we did last week? Do you have the example? Yeah, you have to show it, yeah. You have to show the steps.
Sir, I'm actually really confused on question 3.
Okay, what about it?
Number line bit.
Okay, what was your, did you check the values first? Were they correct with the others? The values that you found for each of them before doing the number line?
Yeah, they were.
Okay, give me the 2 values. So what was the value for 3? Your answer.
3 is less than x, which is less than 4.
Okay, and then for the other equation, what did you get?
X is greater than 0.
Okay, so when you draw the number line for that, you have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Less than the one for 3 and 4 is going to be here, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then greater than 0 is going to be here.
Yeah.
So just
This is just
from there.
3 is less than x, which is less than 4.
No, just be x is greater than 0 because this is just keeps going. Was it that first? Was that the answer or was it not? Okay, then this is why it doesn't make sense. Okay, so he's got the answer wrong. That's why. Check what you're the solving first.
One thing I do on purpose is I ask the student to explain it to someone else. And the reason why I do that is because it would test how much they know when they're explaining it to someone else. If you understand what you're learning or the skill that you have, when you explain that to someone or when you're providing that service to someone, you're going to see what you know and what you don't know. It will be a real good experiment of how much you actually know what you're preaching and what you're explaining. I would most of the time not explain it myself again. I would say the other student, okay, can you explain that to him? Where did they go wrong? Check where they went wrong. Understand what that person did and see from there what you can do to rectify the problem and how you can get to the solution. All of this is practice. All of this is really testing their brains, because the easy thing for me is just to say, okay, this is where you went wrong. Okay, now they know where they went wrong and they can do it. Cool, that's easy. I could do that. But if you really want to test, if you really want to build those foundations, one thing that you can do is explain it to someone else. Explain it to someone else and see if they understand it. If they understand it, great. It means you've mastered it. Fantastic. But if they don't and they ask you questions and you don't know the answers to those questions, you will have the insight now to say, okay, I actually don't know it as well as I thought I did. I need to go back to the drawing board and learn this. So it's a great real-time feedback of what you know and what you don't know when you're explaining it to someone else or when you're providing that service or when you're showing something to someone else. It's a real-time feedback that the other person can give you to see if you really understand what you're actually saying.
Okay, let's go around. Okay, do you know how to factorize that? No. You got this is long form factorizing. Okay, so now what you do is not this method. What you're gonna do is you're gonna bring 4x squared down, and you see those two numbers that you found here. You're gonna add x to them. So you're gonna have minus 4x, and then the other one is gonna be minus x, and also carry the minus 1 down. Yeah, equals 0. What can I take out here? What's in common? X, 4x, isn't it? So what would I have inside? Minus 1. Okay, and then that will be your graph. Yeah. Okay, this is what we're doing. So expand it just as normal. Expand it. You know how to expand it, right? And then bring everything to one side. That's it. Hold on. 4x squared minus 3x minus KO. What's KO? Why did you write KO for?
No, that's 1 and the crocodile 0.
Krish,
How you asking Chris?
what is that? What does that read?
X squared minus 3x minus 1, that's 0.
That's what I thought.
Yes, what does this read?
4x squared minus 3x minus 1 is actually 0.
I told you.
What do you think? What do you think?
Doesn't that look like a KO?
It's not.
Yeah, it does.
Why didn't you say KO
yeah,
then?
Yeah, but like.
You ruined it.
You ruined the whole thing, Chris.
Yeah, Chris, shut up.
KO, okay.
So one thing I love to do in the classes is bring people in the conversations, because it's one thing you explaining it to them, it's one thing them doing the work, but the reason why I also do these classes is so that people can interact. And I think there's something very genuine, very authentic when the students interact with each other, even if it's a joke, like the clip that you just saw there. It was me doing it on purpose to bring the other students in, not to bring that student down. That was never the case. It was just to get that kind of togetherness feeling, right? And you get the students coming in and pitching in and commenting. At the end, I look like an idiot because I thought they were going to be on my side. They were clearly weren't. But these small little interactions like this, it gives it more energy, gives it more positivity, gives it more enjoyable experience for the students to feel like they are part of a community, part of a family, which is, like I said in my previous video, what I've always wanted to do. So every now and then you'll see in some of these videos where I'll bring some students in just to get them to talk, get them to be part of that energy. That's very important for me.
Where are you guys going? Okay, I'll write the homework again. Oh my days. It's gone quick.
So I hope you're able to see and get some sort of value that nothing in life works until you build your foundations. If you want to achieve great things in your life, if you want to grasp more advanced concepts, if you want to achieve those goals that you said you want to achieve, by all means, you're more than capable of doing it. Everyone can, but you should not run away from the foundations. You should not run away from building those strong pillars. And a good analogy for this that just came to my mind actually is, if you look at big buildings, big apartments, tall apartments, the foundations, the foundations of those buildings at the beginning takes a long time to build. Have you not noticed that? Like, they'll have a piece of land and they'll take time to build the foundations of that skyscraper, the apartments, right? But then once those foundations are built, have you not seen how quickly they build the first floor, second floor, third floor, like it just goes up very quickly. And that's because they have a strong foundation. And by having that strong foundation, everything else becomes easier. And that's another thing that people have this misconception that it always gets harder and harder. I would disagree with that to a certain extent, that if your foundations are strong, it shouldn't get hard as you go to the next level, Of course, there's going to be new things that you have to learn. There's going to be new things that you have to grasp. There's going to be new concepts and a level of understanding and a level of work that you're going to have to put in to be able to reach those levels. But it shouldn't feel completely new because your foundations are just so strong and you're building it one layer at a time. And that's why it's important to play the long game. Don't go for the shortcut. Don't play the short game. Don't try and do this. Go straight on the road, even if it takes a long time for you to understand and achieve that goal. In the end, you will get there and people will look at you and say, wow, this person knows what they're doing. They're the real package. So make sure you stay on the long road, keep working hard, stay consistent, be patient, and I guarantee you, you will get there in the end.